You know when you've been planting plants all day long and you're meticulously caring about where each plant should go, sun, water, companion planting, and then the day starts creeping on and you got a lot of plants to go, it's getting close to dinner time, and you're just like, okay, you go there, you go there, you go there, you go there. So that's where I am right now. So lots has been happening. We got a cool new experiment to start. We've put our annual garden here. I've kind of dug a little bit of a, not a swale really, but just a water catching trench. And it actually goes on, it's not on contour, it actually goes against contour, downhill slightly, and then it kind of stalls here. And then slowly goes roughly on contour to the back. So my idea was that I would take it and wrap it right around here, which is the driveway edge, and I would catch the rest of this rainwater, which like in the past has just gone across it. And I've kept it there because it's making the lawn nice and green. It kind of keeps the family happy. But I think I'll catch it. I'll catch it here and I'll divert it down along the garden there. I think that kind of makes sense. We planted a bunch of this stuff out because the weather looks like it's going to be pretty good in the next little while. So we'll show you some of the guilds we created with our annuals, and then a battle royale experiment that I am starting. Okay, so here is the garlic patch, and we've woven in some peppers kind of right in here amongst them all. And peppers kind of like to have their little buddies, so we've planted them fairly close in a block style. And then, you know, they have companion garlic, and there's some kale there for rabbit deflection maybe. There's the comfrey in the back. There's mullein for tea, and deep taproot accumulator as well. We got, did I say mint? We've got the mint there and more pepper. And then we get into the raspberry patch. Now, this area here is actually a decent area where the raspberries haven't creeped over yet. They're starting to. We've dug out a ton of those raspberries, and we've been selling them at the end of the driveway. I don't know how that's gonna work. So we've been selling them at the end of the driveway, and then we've put in some potatoes, and then in the back we've got tomatoes. So I know that's a typical no-no, but I found that they work fine. Typically they say don't plant potatoes and tomatoes together because they share the same pests, so you're gonna double attract the pests. I've always found that it's been all right. They're a little separated. There's a wall of garlic between them. And then we've got the pear and raspberries growing up everywhere. Going further along the bed, we've got raspberry craziness. And I forgot to kind of mention some of these additions. I think I did show them on my latest video. There's oregano and chamomile there. And over here, we've got Good King Henry. In this little guild that I just showed you before, there's the Good King Henry there. So those are perennial things that we're going to try to get established in this bed. And then we've put in some walking stones to kind of give it a little character back there. And there are some cuttings of elderberry in here that are doing well. So, you know, you would look at this in the winter and say this thing's dead, but then you look and it's coming up from the roots, so this thing's not dead. So we've got elderberry there, and there's another one here, and then right in the middle of the raspberry patch we've got another one there. So I've cleared out some raspberries around it to try to give it some sun. And again, that's where the plants compete, is in that sun aspect. We've got kale, rows of garlic, we've got sorrel. It's a variety called Profusion Sorrel. It's, I think, unique to the local nursery near me. And we've got more chamomile, garlic, and then we've got just the annual bed here, which we'll probably put the rest of the tomatoes in. They're not quite ready to come out, so they'll come out probably in a week or two. Probably a week. Okay, this is the Father's Day cherry tree on the Jerusalem artichoke swale. So we are gonna start fleshing this guild out. So we've added some chives, some onions, we've got clover, we've got bee balm, sweet Sicily in there, more chives. There's a mulberry. We're going to kind of flesh this out a little bit more. I might put in a bush layer between these two. We'll see. Maybe some raspberries because I mow around on all sides. You know, that's why I put like the bee balm there, because I mow all around this, so it'll kind of keep it in check. And then if it goes further this way, it's going to have fun time competing with the soccer ball and the Jerusalem artichokes. Okay, this you know, ugly area that I didn't want to show you before, we've got the rugosa roses in there. We've also put in now some cherries, Nanking cherries, and then I believe also Romeo and Cupid. So bush cherries, and they were actually a generous gift from one of the subscribers. So thank you. We'll say John, name made up to protect the innocent. I don't know if he wants his identity given out, but thank you so much. That's just a wonderful gift. And my wife bought these planters because I guess she wanted some planters near the pond, and then she bought some garden soil, which just seems funny to me. We make our own compost and everything, but we've been expanding so much that we haven't had enough. We've kind of run out, so we actually did need more soil. The compost, the mega compost pile that I have over here, spinning around way back there, the mega biochar horse manure pile, that won't be ready till next year, so at least maybe in the fall. It's still got the biochar in it, and the char has to actually charge, so we don't want to put that in gardens yet. And then we've got some more up here. We've got a lemon tree and a mango tree that we've been keeping inside, and they're going to enjoy some time outside, I think. I think it'll be warm enough for them tonight, so we'll see. And I asked my wife, like, I wanted one of these, and this is the Battle Royale. So let me talk about this. Okay, so everything in here is going to look a little unhappy because it just got repotted, dug up, and transplanted here. But this is me trying my hand at a polyculture in a pot. So this will be fun to watch. Interestingly enough, everything in here is perennial. So this is an experiment that we'll get to continue to watch, providing I can keep this alive. Because if there's one thing I do promise, it's that this polyculture in a pot will get less attention on my land than pretty much anyone watching. You know, if you put one of these on your apartment balcony, you'll probably tend it better to me when I've got a million other things that I have to kind of keep spinning. And so this thing, I'm going to try my best to water it once in a while, but it's probably going to be fairly neglected. So what are the host of characters that we've set up in this Battle Royale, and we will see who wins. All right, in the back corner right here, coming in at 2 inches tall, weighing 16 grams, is Peppermint. So Peppermint is a notorious quick spreader. We're going to watch how that bounces off of the raspberry and the strawberry. So we've got a raspberry as a, you know, perennial bush layer. This will be the overstory canopy for this mini guild. So yes, we've got a tiny little raspberry, and it will be the overstory tree in this little experiment. We've got strawberries, which will kind of act actually as the bush layer because they push up and tall. So this will kind of be like a bush layer, and we put one here, and one here. So they're kind of spread out everywhere. Excuse me, it's a little loud. You guys hear that? I think he's like right next to me. I don't know, sounds pretty sexy, my dude. All right, and then we've got oregano. So oregano is a nice aromatic herb that will kind of benefit the whole guild, and we'll see how it kind of competes against the strawberries and everything around there. We've got chives in the back as a great pollinator and a aromatic infuser as well. In the opposite corner, we've got some chocolate mint. So this will kind of run into the peppermint, and we'll see which one of these over time wins. We've got yarrow as another pollinator attractor and beneficial plant, and then we've got good King Henry, who is looking a little stressed out, but considering what they looked like yesterday, I think it's doing all right. So as long as it can survive, it'll probably find its place. It might have to reach out over the edge, but it'll probably find somewhere that it can get some light. So this will be a fun little experiment, again, providing everything's not dead in a week. But this is a permaculture in a pot, patio, balcony, gardening experiment. So we'll run it and we'll see what happens, and I hope you guys enjoy watching this develop over the season. Hopefully I've set up a few different things that we can kind of follow up on throughout the season, like Old Man Walking Trail. We can watch what's volunteering and sprouting down there. We've got Wildflower Hill. We've got obviously the pond planting, which was new last year, and we'll just continue to develop. We've added tons of flowers. You can see one of them popping up there. We'll pop up there and take a look at it. So we've added a lot of stuff this year, and it should be fun to watch it develop. We've tried to tie all the little micro things together. And ignore this pipe. The pond was just getting a little bit low. I wanted to top it up with rainwater. I might do something more permanent in the future, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure it's nice and topped up for the new season. I was running the hose, but I thought, you know, that's kind of dumb. We'll just run the rainwater in. So these are some new flowers we put in. Couldn't tell you what they are. You guys know better than I do. My wife went to the garden center when she got that topsoil, and then she came back with some goodies, so that's always fun. And we've got some more flowers here. Don't know what those are either. I'm not very good with the ornamental stuff. We do have some asters that she bought. I knew the asters, I knew the lemon balm, I knew the bee balm, so she came back with some nice stuff. You know, coincidentally enough, we've retransplanted some blueberries up here, and the soil is around 7.2 pH, so that's nowhere near the 5 that these want. And I'm not gonna be adding anything like aluminum sulfate or azalea fertilizer to drop the pH, so they'll just have to struggle there and see if they can live. But they might live and just have red leaves and never give me fruit, or they might die. We'll have to see. What else is new? Man, I've been doing so much. I like some of these flowers coming up. Looks really cool. We found some morels in our lawn, and my sister and brother-in-law found them on their property at the horse farm. So I know 2 spots now where I can get morels, which is fantastic. And I'll maybe do a morel ID guide if I can find another fresh one. There's a couple things you want to look for morels. I'll just quickly, on the inside they should be hollow, and the cap should attach to the stem at the bottom of the cap, not at the top. So I'll do a more in-depth video of that in the future, but it's handy to know what morels you can eat. I really enjoy this creeping thyme, starting to creep over the rocks and fill in the spaces. I think this is going to look fantastic by the end of the year when it's kind of filled in, you know, some of just the brown, and it'll be more of a carpet of green with different plants and different things in flower at all times. It'll be kind of cool, I think. All right, so I don't know how much you can tell on this shot, but we've been adding a ton of plants in here. There's been 5 more sea buckthorn added and a couple cherries. Again, those were gifts from, we'll call him John. We'll call him Joe this time, just to make it even more confusing. So they were actually a gift. He bought too many plants and donated them to us, so it's just fantastic. So kind. So I put them, a couple of them here, so that you know, he'd get to see his plants when he watches the video. So you can kind of see 3 cherries in a row. I've been starting to try to plant more in, you know, a line of the same plant, like a polyculture, but less, like kind of more clumped. And I think it'll look nice when those cherries flower in probably 3 or 4 years when they're a little bigger. We've transplanted some raspberries, and they look sucky and droopy, and that's just what they do. They may even die right back, but they're impossible to kill. So yeah, if you ever buy stuff like raspberries from somebody and this happens, you know, give it a good deep soak, give it water. But they tend to, sometimes they'll die right to the ground, and you think, oh well, that sucks. And then you get raspberry here, raspberry there, raspberry here, all popping up around it. So just, the only thing that matters is that the roots survive. We've added a little service berry in here, and we have added some more sea buckthorn. We've added lovage, So this lovage was actually moved from somewhere else to here, so I hope this survives. It should, but it was in a really shady spot, and we've moved it up here where, you know, it's a little more accessible. And we transplanted some more service berries here. One's looking happy and one's looking like it might have dropped all its leaves, which again is a sign of stress from the transplanting, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a death knell for the plant. This drip edge guild, we added some more aromatic plants and pollinator support plants. So that's oregano in there and more chamomile. I think I probably showed that stuff. We've got some Queen Anne's lace popping up. And it's kind of exciting to see it will be exciting to see this guild flesh out. And I'm gonna probably watch how it is this year. And ideally I'd like to have everything closer, and I'd like to squish more stuff in there. Because remember, it's that density that we want. But this is the front yard, so I can't go nuts. This is one of the elderberries that I transplanted last year, and look at this one. So this was obviously a larger, I kind of cut the remaining part and got tired. I didn't want to do cuttings anymore. So, and I wanted one that probably would be more likely to survive. So I just smashed it down the middle, cut it, and kept as much of the root as possible and planted it, and looks pretty good. Looks pretty happy. And it looks like it's suckering a lot, which is understandable because of the trauma that it went through. So you'll find that happens a lot, where you'll plant a plant, it'll be 2, you know, 3 branches, 4 branches, but then it'll sucker a ton. And then you can let those grow, and you can kind of pick the ones that look like they're the strongest and kind of selectively prune out the rest. Or you can just let it grow like a wild crazy bush. That's totally fine too, especially for a support style plant like an elderberry, where you're not really worried about crazy production. You just have it there really for the odd berry that you might get, but it's mostly for the bees and the birds. Definitely edible and fantastic in making like a syrup, a very, very healthy syrup. So I'll show you some failings here. These are peach cuttings, and I think I got 0% success on these. So not everything I try works, definitely. These were basically plugged and forgotten. They were never touched again, never watered again. So maybe with a little bit more love than that, you could get them to root. But it might be a cutting where you have to, you know, root it in a fridge or something like that, and then get it to callus and then plant it out. Not just plug like elderberry and currants and willow. Those work really well, just like that, simple. So this guy is loving the sea buckthorn thorny guild here, right at the front. Ginny's right behind him. I'm kind of on the side of him. I'm gonna try to move around him so he doesn't freak out. He'll go running.